The NASCAR Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Shady Rays. SGPN is teaming up with Shady Rays for Shady May. Get 50% off your Shady Rays using promo code SGPN, and then go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/shady for your chance to win $500. We're also brought to you by EdgeBoost. EdgeBoost enables you to double your bet with no interest. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to get started today.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Bush is in luck because we are here to talk about racing things. That's all we ever do is talk about racing things. It's the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. It's All-Star Week. We've already plowed through all of our betting picks for the All-Star race, for the truck race. We've done DFS. Now, Cody, we get to let our hair. We get to have a little fun this week and just give you some rundowns of a couple of the unique processes in this all-star race. And then we're going to give you a few bonus picks because why the hell not? We're going to wrap it up and talk about some bets that we like now that we've seen a few more odds and just talk it through. So by now you've listened to this, the truck race is going to get ready to go. You're all settled in. Cody, buddy, welcome to the end of the week.
Welcome to the end of the week, right? Yeah, I do like when we have the full week and we get all three series. Obviously, that's the most fun. We have all three series to bet on, all three series to talk about. But sometimes these little extra shows are kind of just fun. Again, like you said, let the hair down, relax, take a break. Neither of us have much hair, but we'll let it down anyways. It's going to be a fun time. We've got some pit stop, part of the All-Star race that we get to talk about a little bit. They brought the pit stop challenge back, so that's going to be fun. And then, a few more lines, a few more books have come out with some extra stuff, and drop a few more bets, a little D-Gens only parlay, and all kinds of fun stuff.
Yeah, the Army makes it difficult for me to keep any sort of hair whatsoever. So, and in fact, I had to be in a room full of official people today, which meant that if you watch the YouTube channel, you see my hair progressively get longer and then all of a sudden get short. It's because it's time for me to zip that hair again.
I don't miss those days. I still keep mine fairly short, but I can do it whenever I want to.
I was going to say, you can literally let it go as long as you want.
That's why I got the beard, too.
I was going to say,
I don't have to shave anymore, so I don't.
Jealous of that. I did that when I first got out, too. I let my hair grow. I was Grizzly Adams then. But yes, you are correct. So we did bring back the Pit Stop Challenge. The Pit Stop Challenge actually sets the starting lineup for the race, which I got to tell you right now, that's a lot of pressure on the crew, first and foremost. And imagine being the driver that knows you can get her. This is not based on your speed. This is based on your crew. So,
hey, it's a team sport, Rod. And they're taking team to the next level. Like, I think this is great. We've had the pit stop challenge before, but I don't think they've ever used it to set the lineup or is actually part of. I think there was one year where they maybe did like the fastest pit stop or maybe they set like after a stage or something. There's been so many gimmicks and different ways they've done these all-star races. I can't remember all of them, but this is a pretty neat way to do it, and set the lineup for the heat races. And then I think, so do they, I probably should know this, but is this how they're determining the lineup for the All-Star Open race as well too, I believe, correct?
It didn't say anything about that. It literally just talks about the
Well,
the
everybody's
playoffs for
odds
that.
are in here, so
Yeah, you
I'm
got to think
guessing that
that's
must
what it
be
is.
the open as well. We're gonna roll with that.
Well, no, and I think it
I'm
is.
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure that is because there's no qualifying for that. I haven't seen anything else. So I think obviously, the
Yeah.
fastest of the open guys would start, in the front, and then the fastest of the all-star guys, obviously. And then I
Well,
believe they're alternating similar to the duels and stuff. Like, so fastest all-star locked in guy will start on the pole in heat 1. Second fastest will start on the pole in heat 2, heat 1, heat 2, and so on and so forth.
Well, I will read you straight from what I'm looking at right now. It says the starting lineup for Sunday's main event will be set by a pair of 60-lap qualifying heats held Saturday night after the Craftsman Truck race. That's yes. Starting order for those races and the 100-lap All-Star Open qualifier will be set by a Friday night pit stop competition for each team. So that is how that's going to happen. So everything is going to happen as a result of this pit stop. So, if you're a fastest pit stop and you're part of the open, more power to you, right? Because that means you get a better starting spot there too. So,
yeah,
and a lot riding on this.
Not only is that all riding on this, $100,000 to the winning team as well for the pit crew members. So they've literally got some skin in the game here. Not only do they want to perform for their car, for their team, and to bragging rights. I mean, these guys, they talk up and down pit road. They all know each other, and they're in a competition every week too. And they, it's again a race within the race, but they're in competition with each other. Who can be the fastest picker? Who can be the better pit crew? Now you toss $100,000 out there, a little dangling a carrot in front of them. Even more opportunity for them to be quick here.
Hey, and I got to tell you, they have more interaction with each other than the drivers do, obviously, because the drivers are in their own separate cars. These pit crews are literally on the same stretch of land, and, those pit boxes are not all that wide. So there's some cross-mingling. Yep. There's some trash talking going on. It happens. I love it. So, all right. We're going to talk through some of the odds for there's actually odds out, and we'll tell you about that in a second, for each fastest pit stop per driver. So we're going to talk through those when we come back, but we got to take a quick break, step away, and come back with more of that. Let's tell you about EdgeBoost. SGPN is excited to announce an exclusive early access partnership with EdgeBoost, the world's first bet now, pay later Visa card. Similar to buy now, pay later programs like Affirm and Afterpay, EdgeBoost enables you to double your bet with no interest and pay back the advance over 4 equal weekly installments. That's right, 0% interest. Ladies and gentlemen, just simply deposit funds into your account and EdgeBoost will match the deposit so you can use 2 times the funds on any legal sports betting site. Edge currently offers up to $2,500 in advances as you build a repayment history. My EdgeBoost double down play of the day is going to be Martin Truex Jr. to win this all-star race altogether. So go sign up for EdgeBoost, hammer that double down. You'll be happy. With this special offer, the first 500 SGPN users will start at a $1,000 advance limit, and the next 2,500 users means you got a lot of opportunity to take advantage of this. We'll start at $500. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge to sign up today. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/edge. Must be 21 years or older to use. Only valid in legal gambling states. Problem gambling? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We alluded to it before the break. A lot riding on it for these pit crews. Obviously, the bragging rights, the $100,000, but they want to put their driver in a very solid starting position to start this race. And of course, that all hinges on whether or not they can get it done. A little bit about how this pit stop's going to happen. So what it is it's a 4-tire pit stop. There are timing lines marked 1 pit stall behind and 1 pit stall forward of their designated pit box, which means that is where the timing will occur. So they got to get in, they got to get it changed, and they got to cross that line. And that's how they're pretty much going to score that pit stop. Fastest one out, obviously, gets the better starting position. So it's pretty cut and dry. Cody just alluded to it before, too. We were talking about it offline. The gas can will be part of it. The gas carrier will be part of it, as he is with every pit stop. There's just no gas in that can, so it doesn't really matter.
It'll be in that can, but the gas guy does a lot of other stuff during the pit stop, whether it's grabbing tires, catching tires, moving hoses, whatever other things they might do. He's still part of the team and part of it, so they won't actually be putting fuel in the car, but he'll still go through the motions of a normal stop. And that's the thing about this, like, this is just one pit stop as fast as you possibly can. And so there's going to be some teams that make mistakes because they're going to be trying to go too fast, but this isn't, if you don't, sometimes they always say, accuracy necessarily is a little more, is better than speed sometimes, right? Where you want to be fast, but you want to get it right as well. And so you take just that fraction of a second to slow down and make sure it's right. Still obviously very fast, but this one, you don't want to have a mistake, obviously, because that's going to cost you time, but you do want to be, the point of this is to go as fast as humanly possible. So there's going to be, they're going to be going for it. These are going to be very quick pit stops. And so it'll be fun to watch. Is this on TV too? I think it is.
It's got to be. I think all of it is.
I think we'll check that. We'll get our stat guy on that. But no, I do think that there's going to be some teams that make mistakes for sure. That's going to cost them big time. And I guess it is still, you don't want to have too big of a mistake because it does set the starting lineup. So there is that part of it where you don't want to mess up. But these guys are going to be going incredibly fast, and this is going to be incredibly exciting to watch.
I will tell you that the qualifying All-Star Pit Crew Challenge will be on FS1.
Good.
That starts at 5:45 Eastern time. So do the math for your time zone. So that is where you can watch the Pit Crew Challenge. That's
Friday evening. So if you hopefully you're listening to this Friday morning, listen to this Saturday or Sunday. Yeah, a little late, but you can still right. Don't stop, because there's going to be bonus bets at the end too that you can still place. And it is fun sometimes to go back and be like, wow, yeah, they were completely wrong on that, or oh wow, they called this. So that's always fun to listen to as well.
I do that all the time, especially with fantasy football podcasts. Even if I miss like a Sunday or something, I'll go back on Monday and listen to the predictions.
And you're like,
you're an idiot.
Wow, this guy was just completely like, what were you even thinking? This did not happen. Or sometimes you're like, damn, they really got that right. That's exactly what happened.
Truth be told, Cody, I listened to ours on Monday, and I go, man, I'm an idiot. How did I not see that? What?
Yeah, I don't want to put myself through that, but
it's called quality control. I always listen to myself and go, man, he's an idiot.
I'll let you handle the quality control department.
But okay, so our buddies over on Betfred actually have these odds for the pit stop. The fastest pit stop. So
and shout out to Betfred. Like, what does everybody else do? I don't understand these books. Like, this is a huge weekend for NASCAR. There's a lot of different things going on. There's a lot of things you could bet on. And Betfred is the only one that seems to be stepping up. They're the only book we can find that's got pit stop challenge odds. They're the only book that has to make the All-Star Open odds, which you could probably just bet top threes other places, or to make the All-Star race from the Open, I guess. But yeah, I'm disappointed in some of these other books that there's not more options as far as this pit stop stuff goes. Like, you can bet on qualifying weekly on Caesars and Barstool. Like, so this is just a different way to qualify, but let's still have odds for it. It's unfortunate. Maybe they'll wake up between when we're recording this and when it actually airs, or qualifying airs. But yeah, it is unfortunate. So shout out Betfred. We appreciate you giving us these options.
I highly doubt it. Although I'm telling you right now, they are waiting for us to start our own book. They really are. It's coming, Cody. We're going to start our own NASCAR book and offer.
Maybe someday, because it's obviously it continues to get better. It's gotten better. Well, there's one book in the Discord if you want to find out which book that is. That's completely lagging this week or this year in NASCAR. But overall, I mean, we are getting better options week in and week out. They're getting stuff up earlier, so it is continuing to grow, of course. But yeah, come on, why are you sleeping on some of these golden opportunities? Especially it's on TV. Like, I get if it wasn't on TV, if they were just kind of doing it, like, but it's going to be on TV. It's a whole event. Like, yeah, let's get some odds out there. So thank you, Betfred.
Yes, thank you, Betfred. And then I will say too, give a quick shout out to Fantasy Racing Cheat Sheet. You can actually find them at frcs.pro. I got to tell you, they got a pretty comprehensive list of pit stops, so you could do your own little research as well into all sorts of things. They've got 4 tire stops, 2 tire stops, pit stop average, total stop average. They even tell you how many stops they've made, like per race. Cody and I were just commenting on this before we jumped on. A lot of the fastest pit stops are from Richmond and Las Vegas. In fact, most of the fastest pit stops this season have come from Richmond and Las Vegas from a cruise perspective, right? I mean, total stop time obviously is a little different, but from a cruise perspective, there's been a lot. Alex Bowman sits on top of that. He's got a 10.0098 stop at Richmond. Daniel Suarez the same time. Ty Gibbs the same time at Richmond. Joey Logano 10.0200 at Richmond.
0.0002 seconds slower. That's how close. Wow. That is how close that is. That's crazy.
How do you even?
And for three teams to have hit exactly this. I mean, when they're going to that much of a fraction of a second, for 3 teams to have exactly the same time, it's crazy how good these guys are and how close they all are. I mean, obviously, the bigger teams still have the advantage, but even the smaller teams crank out some pretty quick pit stops.
It's funny, though, because we say that, right? And so my daughter will come downstairs and it'll be like going through pit cycles and green flags or whatever. And they hit like 10 or 11 seconds, right? And she goes, that's pretty slow, because she's used to watching.
She sees the F1 pit stops. We're at 2.1 seconds. Yeah.
And even still, like in the F1, when they drop the jacket, it's like 3.2. She goes, dang, that's slow.
Yeah, you're like, oh, come on, it needs to be faster than that. And it's like, how much faster could you possibly get? It's crazy.
I literally blinked and missed the stop. That's how quick it happened.
I do think for the NASCAR pit crews, like if you watch the F1, the IndyCar pit stops, like they change all 4 tires at the same time. It's just the guys are basically sitting there on their knees waiting. Boom, boom. It's all. I mean, these guys carry the tires around the car, change them, come back around, grab the other tires, put them on, change them, and they do all of that in only 7-8 seconds longer than it takes for these other teams, where they're just sitting there, pop it on. I mean, not that those guys aren't still doing a good job and they're quick and everything, but it's impressive, these pit crew guys. And I think it's really, really great that they're getting this platform to compete against each other, to show everyone their talent. Most of these guys, I was on pit road a couple weeks ago in Kansas. These are big dudes. They're all former football players, former athletes. Like it's great to see them get their time in the spotlight.
And we will. All right, we will actually talk down some of these odds. Take one more break. When we come back, we'll give you some of the odds, the actual odds for the drivers for this pit stop challenge. Let's say about Shady Rays. Shady Rays is teaming up with us, the SGPN, for Shady May. And not only are you going to get an amazing 50% offer, but you are going to get a chance to win $500. Shady Rays has always got you covered from the sun to the slopes with premium polarized shades, customizable snow goggles, and so much more. Shady Rays have durable frames and extremely clear optics for every single one of your outdoor adventures. And that's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. So if you lose, break a pair, even on day 1, minute 1, hour 100, doesn't matter. They told us that they are going to send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Wear your Shady Rays with confidence, because they got your back long after your purchase. And if you don't love them, that's fine. Exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. No risk. When you shop with Shady Rays, they've always got your back. And for our international listeners, Shady Rays has got you covered as well, with shipping to Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK. You want in on the action, go to shadyrays.com. Use code SGPN for 50% off of 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. Then take that receipt to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/shady for your chance to win the $500 Shady May contest. So talking about it beforehand and using this fantasy racing cheat sheet as an example, we talked about Alex Bowman having that fastest pit stop at Richmond. But the odds, Cody, kind of reflect a different story in this. And it's kind of interesting. The top 2 on the board are Ross Chastain and William Byron. Both of those guys listed at plus 500 to turn in the fastest pit stop. I mean, what do you even think about that?
Well, I think that's a reflection of what we see during the race, right? Because it seems to me like William Byron's pit crew is always the pit crew that's getting him from fourth or third to first, putting him in position. And now he's got 3 wins because of it. But it seems to me like every time we think about him coming down pit road, and now that also includes how he performs on pit road, getting in and out and everything. And this challenge is just going to be the actual pit stop and not necessarily the entrance time. We know some of these guys are very good about getting really close but not going over. Some guys speed a lot. But yeah, and so I think maybe that's a reflection of that. I was looking too as well at the this fantasy racing cheat sheet site has pit stop average times as well, which Chase Briscoe's team, holy hell, they are consistently the fastest by a lot, actually. I mean, their average pit stop 10.352. Byron is second at 11.264. Corey LaJoy's crew is actually the third quickest on average at 11.338. So it's hard to know which parts of these are going to weigh in, right? Because doing it consistently is great, but you don't need consistency in this. You need one very fast stop. So I guess you have to kind of pick and choose which stats you more want to look at, which way you have a feel for. Again, this could just be kind of like with the All-Star race. Since this isn't something we normally handicap, we normally look at much, just kind of take your shots where you want to, right? Just kind of sprinkle things in how you feel, use a little bit of your gut handicapping skills and go from there, I suppose. So you got Chastain, Byron, and Larson. Those are the top 3 favorites. It's plus 500 for Chastain and Byron, plus 600 for Larson. And then it's a drop-off after that. I mean, you got Bubba at 10-1. There's a solid group there. And there's teams down. I mean, Corey LaJoy, 40-1. Like, his pit crew's been, what did I say, third or fourth average fastest? Why would you not? Here we go. If you're watching on YouTube, bring him in. Corey LaJoy. Well, you got to throw a sprinkle on that, right? Why not? 40-1. They obviously are very good and they're ripping off consistency. So maybe they can throw down a really quick one.
So I will say too that this sheet is using the last 5 pit stops from the last 2 or 3 starts for some of these guys. So it's not all season long, but I mean, when we talk data and when we talk analytics and stuff, the bite size does matter to a certain extent, but the cream will always rise to the top. And it's funny though, you talk about Chase Briscoe having that 10.352.
Maybe that's because he's on pit road so much.
Well, listen, yeah, right. But his average stop time, 39.194. That puts him like in the 27. So if you look on this,
and these, just for the record too, these are 4 tire stops that we're looking at. It does allow you to filter it that way. So it's not factoring in gas and goes or 2 tire stops or anything like that.
Yeah. So I mean, if you factor that in, he is like, they got green for fast and then red, increasingly darker shades of red. His is almost all the way red when it comes to total stop time. So again, this is the crew. This is not him driving on and off. I think that pit stall may not make too much of a difference either way, but I mean, it may.
Yeah, it could factor in too where these guys are sitting on pit road on an average week as well. I mean, we know that sometimes you can fire off at the end of it quickly, and it makes a difference in other traffic you're navigating when you're coming in. So that could play a factor as well.
Yeah. Joey Logano, Eric Jones factoring in total stop time as far as first and second in that span as well. Interestingly enough, the pit stop for Eric Jones, 12.499, but his total stop time, 36.556, which, I mean, Eric Jones on this list is, as I scroll down a little bit farther, he is at 8+8. He's at 80-1 to win this. So again, how much is factoring into this, right? How much does that pit stall really factor in when it comes to it? Because over the last 5 pit stops, he's actually been the best, getting on and off. His crew has not been the fastest, but he's been the best getting on and off. Joey Logano, second on that list, 36.595. Joey Logano to win this is 12-1. So, those type of a situation are interesting because you look at pit stops. This is not lap time. This is not how fast you can drive. This is how fast can your pit crew change a tire and get you off a pit road. So you can see even in the odds are stacked in the favor of some of these drivers that run well, but their pit crews, obviously you see that there's value in betting some of these pit crews that don't necessarily get the love that the bigger pit crews get,
Yeah, agreed. And yeah, I was just looking to I was trying to look back and see last year the Mechanics Wear Most Valuable Pit Crew award went to Kyle Busch's pit crew on the 18 car last year. Those guys are now pitting for Martin Truex on the 19. He's at 16-1. That might be another option to look at here. I think if you look at the aggressiveness of the Joe Gibbs Racing pit crew team, they have been the ones that have tried the different strategies, right? Where they had the guys switching, where the guy would change the front right side and then the left rear. And they've been trying all these different things out. Knowing that this pit crew challenge was coming up, I feel like a pit department like that might have possibly been practicing on things like this to try and get in for this specifically. And maybe they did stop doing that quote unquote next gen pit stop and went back to doing it the old way, because I think there was some inconsistencies, but we did see the speed that it would provide sometimes. So it'll be interesting to see if any teams pull out something that they haven't used in an actual race yet that they've kind of been saving for this.
Yeah, it's so crazy that you look at. So you talked about Martin Truex Jr. He actually ranks 8th as far as total stop rank. So his pit crew gets him out at 12.192, but his average stop time is 37.739. So again, he's 8th in that list. Talk about Joe Gibbs. It's funny because they've got the 8th, the 14th, and the 18th ranked pit stop crews. So, they actually are the class of the Toyotas as far as pit stops are concerned. And then 23-11 right after that at Bubba Wallace is 28th and Tyler Reddick is 31st as far as the rank is concerned. So, you're right. These Gibbs Toyotas are aggressive when it comes to pit stops. So, you look at all of these guys and where they sit in this, where it's even Denny Hamlin's at 11-1 for that. Christopher Bell 14-1. You just said Martin Truex at 16-1. Ty Gibbs at 20-1. I mean, any one of those guys could crank off a fast pit stop and put you in the money there as well.
Yeah, and Josh Berry, I want to highlight him, 18-1. We talked about it, right? Alex Bowman's pit crew had the fastest stop at Richmond. It was that 10 point. I just had it and I lost it.
0.0002.
Yeah. 10.0098. And they actually had, not only did they have the fastest pit stop in that race, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They had the 6th fastest pit stop as well. So twice in that race. That one was at a 10.0762. So some very quick changes there. That's the number one name that pops up multiple times early on in this. Keselowski's team kind of pops up. What's Keselowski's odds at?
Keselowski
he's
is
at 14-1. He's kind of up a little higher. Harvick kind of pops up a couple times. He's only 10-1. So yeah, I don't know what's we didn't really come into this as far as giving out picks. We kind of just wanted to talk through the process and stuff. But if you had to bet on one or two of these, Rod, where do you think you would go?
I like your Martin Truex angle. I do. And at 16-1. Well, no, that's fine. No. You can have
no, don't. I like it. No, go with it.
No, that's really what it is. And I think as we talked through it all, the 16-1 angle of this makes me like it even more, because obviously there's so much value in that. But I'm not opposed to taking a stab at Eric Jones just because we know Legacy's not been good on the track, but as the stats bear out, he's actually been good on pit road. So maybe without the pressure of knowing that they've got to get him out in a certain position, rather, because like you had said before, right? I mean, they're trying to get it right? But when you're racing, you're trying to get them out for track position. Here, you just want to get them out, right? And so you're not necessarily trying to get him out before other cars. You just want to nail the best pit stop of your life. And if Eric Jones has been able to be consistently good getting on and off a pit road, that may be good for a second, 2 seconds, of them just being able to breathe, relax, and get him out. So at 80-1, I feel like taking a stab at Eric Jones wouldn't hurt you.
So I think you treat this almost even more so than like winners at super speedways, but treat this like a first touchdown bet. I mean, that's almost kind of what this is, right? Anybody could get into the end zone and just hit you're going to get the right call, the right play at the right time. And maybe it's the backup tight end like Eric Jones at 80-1, or maybe it's one of the, second string wide receivers like Martin Truex at 16-1. So I think you go Truex 16-1, Jones 80-1, like Rod just called out, Barry at 18-1, and Corey LaJoie at 40-1. I think that's how you take your unit, split it up 4 ways, drop it on those. You get a 16 and an 18-1, then you get a 40 and an 80-1. I think that's some solid first touchdown bets there.
I agree. Or it could be the star running back, William Byron at plus 500.
Right. That's like, well, Derrick Henry's probably going to score first, right? We know that.
Yeah. But that's not sexy. That's not.
No, it's not. I mean, you can bet that if you want to, but and even the data doesn't necessarily this data that we're looking at doesn't scream like they're so much better than everyone else. And so I think that makes me not really want to go too crazy on it either. Yeah. But yeah, I like going with these other 4 guys. And again, this is it's a fun thing. It's a nice little extra thing. This isn't where they're qualifying where you got to find somebody that's good at laying down one lap that's perfect or has speed on this type of track. It's completely different and not something we look at week to week. So yeah, I like doing it this way and kind of making it like the first touchdown, and then you root for your guy to get in the end zone first.
I love that philosophy. Hopefully everybody else finds that as well. Cody, let's just keep rolling. Let's have fun with this. Let's just keep rolling. Let's give out a couple of extra bonus picks for the race. That way, for those of you who may have listened too late, you still have an opportunity to place some bets on Saturday and Sunday.
There you go. I like it. Okay, well, I did bring this up on the Truck Series betting episode earlier this week. I said if you could find any head-to-heads with Ross Chastain, to fade Ross Chastain. Barstool and I think it's Bet Rivers have both given us the option. Both of them have Nick Sanchez at minus 112 against Ross Chastain. So give me Nick Sanchez, minus 112 over Ross Chastain. We've talked about Sanchez. He's been fast all season. Expect him to have some speed again this week like he has all season. And Chastain in that 41 truck.
41, yeah.
He's not done great at any point this season. He's got to end up with a couple decent finishes because of some circumstances, but not because he looked good throughout the race or was really in competition all day. So fading Ross Chastain in the truck race, Nicholas Sanchez minus 112, and that's both Bet Rivers and Barstool both have that.
Well, let me add on to that because BetMGM has a chance for you to fade Ross Chastain in the Cup race, and they've given you Kyle Larson at minus 130 over Ross Chastain. Ooh. That's not juiced up at all. I mean, it is juiced, obviously, but I would expect this line to be way, way more gouged in the favor of the books. But if they're only giving me minus 130 to fade Ross Chastain, and look, Chastain is at plus 100 of this. He's even money. There's no confidence in the books. I'm not even sure why they're giving it to you, but you got to take it because at this point, there's no way Kyle Larson is going to lose a head-to-head against Ross Chastain on this track, unless, of course, Ross nudges him out of the way again, and now we're talking Spin City. But I gotta just like you fade Ross Chastain on this track. There's just doesn't seem to me to be any confidence that he's going to do well in the truck race, in the Cup race. Doesn't even matter. So, and like I said, at minus 130. Come on now. This is a smash.
Yeah, I like this because you expect Larson to be very good here, of course. And with Ross, there's just a lot of questions. And I think the books still have these head-to-heads. Obviously, they've kind of butted heads lately. And so I think that NASCAR likes to have these, I believe NASCAR dictates some of these featured matchups to some of their partner books. But of course they want to have this, right? So people are talking about this more and more. But with the Ross part of this, it's like last week, like some people decided to bet it. We talked about don't bet him. It's this eventually it's going to come there, and there's a point in the race. It's like Larson at super speedways. There's a point in the race where you're like, these dudes were so wrong. He's so fast. He looks so good. But exactly every time Larson's on a super speedway, he looks good. He looks fast, and he always gets caught up in the wreck. We knew Chastain, eventually the track was going to catch up with him, and it did. He put himself in the wrong position. Now this week, it's been all the talk, right? Who is it? I was going to say Chad Canals, but that's not right. Cliff Daniels, Larson's crew chief, called Chevrolet out during the race. Hey, Chevrolet, this is the third or fourth time or whatever that we've not finished the race because he keeps wrecking other Chevrolets. And then Mr. Hendrick, had his comments after the race in the media room. And then now you go into the week, and Justin Marks had comments like a very disappointed father on a Sirius XM where, look, we've got to get this guy to stop doing this, basically. And like, things have to change. Like, it's gotten to the point where, okay, you've gotten away with this for too long. And then it sounded to me like Chevrolet gave Justin Marks a call and said, hey, buddy, fix this shit. Like, I think that's what happened there. And so now Ross has gotten that all week, right? And we've seen it though, right? He's been sorry. He's sorry. And he's sorry. And he's sorry. And he's sorry. But he keeps doing it. And now there's all this. And I think he said yesterday, something to the effect of, I'm just glad Rick Hendrick knows who I am. Although it's for the wrong circumstance or something. And it's just like, so I don't know if he's going to get, but it's going to be interesting to see if he just like, sometimes when you get upset about something and you just go complete opposite and you're like, fine, you want me to do this? Fine. I'm going to do the total opposite. And so I don't know. Otherwise, is he just going to be the same aggressive guy he's been? And if he starts being aggressive, people are going to take the opportunities. We talked about it last year. Nobody really ever, Denny all season, oh, we're going to get him back. We're going to get him back. And then he never really did. These guys are fed up now. Like, we've seen it, right? Guys are taking their shots when they can get it on him. And that makes it so much harder to bet on him, so much harder to trust him to get to the end. Is he going to have speed? Probably. Is he going to have a good car? Probably. Is he going to make it to the end is the biggest question mark in there. So I like fading him in the Cup Series for that reason. And then back to the Truck Series, it's just I think that truck's going to continue to be slow as it has been, even with him behind the wheel. So I don't expect much speed out of that.
Yeah, and they're taking shots at him on and off the track, obviously, and really. And listen, if I get that this is a race for $1 million, but again, $1 million prize was a lot bigger back in the day when they, Chastain could probably sign himself a watermelon deal worth 25 times that. You know what I'm saying?
Is there that much money in watermelon, Rod?
Hey, I don't know, man. I'm not
looking for a new job now.
But all I'm saying is that there's probably, look, $1 million prize is great. The prestige of winning at North Wilkesboro is great. But if there's a race in which you would lay low, this is probably it, because you're not there. You're there to run the race and there's no points, which you could probably argue the opposite. No, Rod, this is exactly where you go and ruffle all the feathers because there's no ramifications. Well, but there is, because even though these guys aren't racing for points, they're still racing. So you just got to lay low, right? And I think this may be an opportunity for Chastain to just sort of run around and be inconspicuous and let what happened last week kind of go by the wayside. Because if he makes noise now, if he does something again to put himself in the headlines this week, 2 weeks in a row, now you know that your fate is cemented. Whatever your reputation is, you do this again. And granted, he's done this a lot. But if you do this again, now that the heat is even turned up more, look, I'm a human being. I don't need that much, right? I got stress enough. Like, I don't need 35 other drivers literally bumping me every single day because of the decisions I make on the track. So you got to cool down at some point, unless you really don't like your car to finish a race every week.
Yeah, and if a Noah Gragson gets in, whether he races his way in, he wins the fan vote, Chastain's coming to lap him. It just, there's so many unknowns. Maybe nothing happens. Maybe he just comes out, wins this race, and we're wrong. We'll take that. It's fine. But there's too many things that could not go his way, either in his control or the rest of the field's control, that makes you not want to bet on him. I did want to shout out Bet Rivers. They do have or not Bet Rivers, Betfred rather. They've got qualify for the All-Star race, excluding the fan vote for the NASCAR All-Star Open. So I want to point out that means basically you have to finish first or second in the race. And so some guys, if you look at, so if you go over to like Caesars, so like Josh Berry's plus 160 for this, he's plus 135 for a top 3 on Caesars. So it doesn't really make sense. You might as well just bet him in the top 3 in case he finishes third and take the little less. But as you scroll down, like Allmendinger's plus 250 for a top 3. He's plus 480 to qualify, which is be a top 2 finish over on Betfred. So kind of as you go down, if there's somebody specifically you like Priest is plus 180 to qualify, but he's plus 160 for a top 3. So again, just take the top 3. Don't take the to qualify. But there are some other guys like Gragson. If you think Gragson can get in, he's plus 340 for a top 3, but he's plus 720 to qualify for the, in the top 2. So if there's any of those guys you like farther down, I don't know that either of us, I don't remember that either of us were real big on any of these guys to finish in top 3 or necessarily get in. But past the top 4, the Barry, Gibbs, Almirola, Priest, I would just go bet their top 3s. Past that, if you think they're going to finish in the top 2, and that doesn't include the fan vote, so you can't. Is Corey LaJoie? Oh yeah, there he is. He's 12-1 because I would love that for the fan vote part of it, but fan vote doesn't count. So if there's anybody that you think can race their way in by finishing in the top 2, past the top 4 guys, because again, just go bet on them for top 3. You're kind of doubling your odds if you think they can improve from third to second, basically, which is obviously the cutoff point for getting in the race. So I wanted to point out that as an option.
Hey, what did you say Allmendinger's top 3 was at right now?
Over on Caesars, he is plus 250.
Okay, so he's the same. He hasn't moved since I gave him out at that. So
yeah, because you did give him out at that, didn't you? So if you like him to finish second, you can up it to plus 480 if you go over to Betfred.
Yeah, I mean you could kind of do both and hedge yourself that way.
And that's probably how you would, because you would hate it if he finishes third and not second. But if he finishes second, that's why sometimes if you bet somebody top 3, I always like taking the top 5 too for when they finish fourth, like John Nemechek last week, because I had him at the top 3, but I missed it because of that wreck on the last lap where he finishes 5th, but luckily had the top 5 to hedge against it. So yeah, but I did want to just highlight that.
Is there another bet you would like to give out? We'll give out one more each and then send everybody on their way.
Yep, got to do my DGens only one. So MGM does allow you to parlay the head-to-heads, and they are offering 4 head-to-heads. So in true DGen fashion, I picked a side on all 4 of them to parlay and put it together. So it's plus 1070 or plus 1057 if you hit this. The example they give here is a $5 bet wins you 57.88. So okay, the first one is Harvick Logano. I'm going to take the Logano side. I don't know why I'm so heavy on the Logano train this week, but I'm riding with it. He's plus 1 or minus 115 rather. Byron versus Truex. These are not easy head-to-heads, by the way. These are all basically coin flips, so I wouldn't go crazy on this. But I'm going to take the William Byron side again. He's got 3 wins. He's been one of the fastest cars week in and week out. He did race in one of the late model, I think he was in the ASA late model race where he finished 3rd place in that race. A late model regular, beat all of those Cup guys. Gosh, I can't think of his name. I'd love to give him a shout out. But and Chase Elliott, I think, finished 2nd in that race. So imagine you're just a regular old late model guy in this series, and all these Cup guys come and race, and you whip all their asses. You beat Chase Elliott, you beat William Byron. Got to be a great feeling. But Byron's got the track experience. He's going to be in the truck as well. Going to have plenty of on-track time. So give me William Byron there. Chase Elliott versus Christopher Bell. Give me Chase Elliott's side of things. Again, I do like him this weekend. It's been up and down, but he's been consistent. He's not necessarily had the fastest of cars. Bell has had a lot of bad finishes lately, a lot of bad luck. And Bell is a guy that comes on late in a lot of races, right? You don't usually hear his name early. Towards the end of the race, all of a sudden, here comes Christopher Bell. Well, this is a shorter race. So we're not necessarily going to have all that time for him to work his way up there. And then Larson Chastain, you already touched on that. Give me the Larson side. So Joey Logano, William Byron, Chase Elliott, Kyle Larson on their respective sides. And it's plus 1057 in the to parlay all the head-to-heads there.
Our DGens only play of the week. I love it. All right, so for my last one, mean, I researched myself into this one, and I don't know if I feel good about it, but
Oh boy.
it's just, I don't know. At plus 425, I see. At plus 525 rather. Chris Buescher, top 5. It's such a. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good, but he has been fast. We talked about how the RFK cars have found their own way into being good, and this is a different format. This is a different track. This is a chance for some unique things to happen, and Chris Buescher, Brad Keselowski, they've both been on the cusp of being inside that top 5 consistently, right? I mean, they've had some good top 10 finishes this year, short tracks, super speedways. It kind of didn't matter. They've been running well, and they've been running close together. So, I mean, Brad Keselowski's at 290 for a top 5 finish in this race too. I mean, I wouldn't put anything on both of them, but I mean, if they're both running around the same one, pick one to finish inside the top 5, I guess, honestly. But I have a feeling that one of these RFK cars could find their way inside the top 5 in this race and just surprise a lot of people. And again, go back, listen to the betting episode, go back, listen to the DFS episode, in which I basically, this is how I researched my way into a Buescher top 5. Plus, I do like the fact that he is 525 for it. The books have all but counted him out. It put him down with the Cindrics, the Stenhouses, the Jones, right? And I already said that I think Buescher is going to finish better than Dillon anyways. So to have him down in this area, I figure why not? I figure this is a good shot to take. And if it hits, it hits. It's almost like you talked about, the first touchdown, right? It's one of those bets that you just kind of make and hope that it hits and root for it.
Which book are you finding top 5 is on?
This is on MGM, BetMGM.
Okay, MGM. So actually, as you were talking about that, it made me think of something I had thought of earlier in the week. Brad Keselowski, which you just brought up his name, and of course his teammate. Rod, who is the biggest gambler week in and week out in the entire field when it comes to race strategy?
No,
Brad
that's
Keselowski.
Yes,
yeah, easily. So, one set of tires for that last 100 laps, right? Brad Keselowski stays out. He gets the right timed caution, and he's got that extra set of tires into the bank late. I like this angle of things. So give me the top 5 at plus 525, and he is 22 to 1. I think I saw him. I think he's 25 to 1 over on Caesars. Or let's see, Superbook. 25 to 1 on Superbook. So throw a little Brad Keselowski sprinkle in there, because I think that he's fast, and I think they can get a solid finish. But if they're going to win this race, it's likely going to come down to strategy. Nobody loves to gamble more than that 6 team. I could see him trying something. It's all got to fall correctly, but if it does, Brad Keselowski could easily find his way into the top 5 at plus 525, and he could possibly win this at 25 to 1.
You are a very convincing man, Cody Zeeb. You have swayed so many people. That's the way it is. I love it. That's a
just it's a way to, again, we're kind of having fun this week. We're just nothing too big, nothing too crazy. We're kind of throwing a few different things out there. This is just a different angle, and if you want to root for, you start to see the strategy play out, it gives you that extra, like, okay, I need this to work. Like, and if somebody is going to gamble and make it work, it's going to be Keselowski. We saw it. Gosh, I don't remember which race it was earlier this season, but we were 2 laps. We were the tire sitting up against the wall away from NASCAR throw the freaking caution flag. It would have worked out perfectly. And Brad, they continuously gamble all the time. Why not this race, right? He's probably not going to win the All-Star race on pure speed. Why not gamble for $1 million, Rob?
Hey, that's what it's all about. Gamble for $1 million. I mean, these guys are going to be gambling on the track as well. So absolutely love it. I hope there was something in there that you found that you guys liked, to add on to your card. Again, this is all just a lot of fun this weekend. We really have nothing to go off of other than, some hopeful good lucks and just a lot of fun watching it. So again, approach this weekend with caution, but have some fun betting on your favorite bets as well.
I guess Keselowski is plus 290 for the top 5. I was looking at the top 3, but
yeah, I was like, no, it's
it is plus 290. So it's a stat correction, but otherwise, I still like plus 290.
All right. Well, Cody, I think it's time to turn everybody loose. We have talked all the All-Star race stuff we can talk about at this point. I think we've primed everybody enough. Now let's just turn them loose. That way they have time to bet these the pit stops too if they do so choose. So
Yep.
Go do that. And then in the meantime, let everybody know where they can find you on social media, and let's bid everybody adieu for the week.
Yeah, gonna be a fun one. Again, enjoy the All-Star festivities, enjoy the weekend of racing. You can follow me on Twitter at Husker_Zeeb. Follow the show as well at NASCAR Gambling. Check out the F1 Gambling Podcast, special episode over there with a special guest. Race got canceled this week because of the flooding and rain and stuff. But again, biggest week in racing coming up next week. And we got come back next week and stay tuned because we got big plans for next week.
Huge plans for next week for sure. Sorry, Italy, California sent all the rain to you. We couldn't handle anymore. So apologies to F1 for that happening. Follow me on Twitter at RJ Villagomez. Link in the bio to everything I got going on, whether it is here, whether it is in between media, the back road. Go check that out. They've got a show covering the All-Star race as well. And then for frequency's sake, got something coming out for them as well. Cover it all. We will see you on the recap show. Enjoy All-Star Weekend. Hopefully you win some money. Hopefully you have some fun. Join us in the Discord to continue the conversation. So until then, let's go racing and let it ride.